Hi, friends, and welcome back. Today is the very last day of the Ugly Art Club's 5-minute challenge. It is day 15, and the prompt is red. I was very excited about this prompt. I was totally in the mood to do something really bold and dynamic on this page, and what better way to do that than to use red. Red is a very bossy color and it takes over, and I love it for that. I don't use it that often because of the nature of it, but when I do, I always love how a spread with red turns out because it is just such a take charge color. So I decided that I wanted to add turquoise in with this, and I stopped my timer there. I thought somebody was at my door and I didn't want my timer to keep running. But we're back to it now. First, I am adding in some collage papers just to get something down in the background so I'm not working on a completely plain surface. I felt like at the beginning of the 5-minute challenge this time, I was doing a decent job with sticking within my 5-minute time frame. I think I just got worse and worse as the time went on, but that's okay. The whole point was to play, get in your studio. So in the end, it is what it is. I'm not being too hard on myself, and I love the pages that came out of it. So in the end, I am happy. So I'm just continuing to build up those base layers of collage, and then I will really start the artwork on top of it. I don't do these layers because I need them to be totally seen in the end. In fact, I know that a majority of them will probably be covered up. But the great thing about doing them is it adds so much interest and intrigue in the end if you can build up those base layers. It definitely takes practice and a bit of courage to cover up the work that you have already done, but it is something that I actively try to work on because I know how much better I like things when I can do that. I went in with my Stabilo Woody in that teal color and just starting to get some of that teal onto the page. With my wet paintbrush, I'm now spreading out that pigment. I like the look of those circles, but I don't need them in the end for someone to say, oh, yep, that's a circle. I just wanted to use them as a base to start getting that color down, and I know that most of it will probably be covered up. Another fun way to take that pigment and get it onto the paper is, as you could just see with a wet paintbrush or damp, take it directly onto the Stabilo Woody and then apply it to the page. I know that I need to start getting some red on here because if I don't, the page will just end up being totally teal, and that is not the point of the prompt. So I'm taking my paintbrush. I believe it was a little bit damp to start with, and now I am going to do some fun splatters onto the page. So I'm just dipping the end of that brush into the paint and randomly splattering it across. I decided that I really needed to dry that page a little bit. It was still wet from when I added water just before, and the red was kind of just seeping into the page in a way that I didn't want it to. It kind of took away the boldness of the splatter that I was hoping for, and it turned it a little bit pink, and it just wasn't the look I was going for. So I thought maybe if I hit it with the heat gun and come back with it and maybe actually add a little bit more paint on my brush than I first started out with, maybe it would be more of what I wanted. It didn't change the effect too much, but just decided to move on from there, and I'm going to add some art marks and bolder elements in with the red, so it will play nicely with the splatters that I already put back there, and it actually makes the splatters appear a little bit more bold because of the bold red that I am putting on now. I'm taking that prompt label that I have, and a lot of times I would do this with black, but with that red color, I am in the red paint that was already on my brush. So there's not a ton of paint left on my brush, but a little bit. I'm going to go around the edges and help it to stand out from the background just a little bit. So I pulled some of my fun scraps from previous master sheets that I had done that had these colors already in them, and I'm going to see if I can use them in some way. I wasn't sure when I pulled them because they are busier to start with, and the background that I already did was quite busy. But in the end, I'm just kind of going with the busy look and leaning into it. And I really like how this page turned out because I feel like it's so maybe different than all the other pages in this journal for the 5-minute challenge, that it's fun when you can do something a little bit different and totally lean into it. And to get that label to play nicely with the background, I'm just adding a few little scribbles to make sure that it ebbs and flows with everything else. I have a few scraps left from the piece of paper that I had just used, and I'm going to add it up above. Just adding another layer and another thing of interest. And then I just had a tiny scrap that I knew if I didn't use it, it would probably be too small to save. So I decided to use it, and I like the way that it made that label prompt kind of continue on and elongate it. Taking a step back and looking at my page, seeing what it needs. And I think the thing that it needs is a few art marks in a bold white pen. I'm going around those bold red marks that I had done in the beginning and helping them kind of offset from the page even more than they already were. As always, if you have any questions about the supplies that I'm using, make sure to check the descriptions down below. I try to list everything if I know where it is from. If I miss something, just go ahead and comment, and I will try to find that out for you. If you're looking for more sources of inspiration, make sure to check out all my other videos here on YouTube. Also check me out on Instagram and on my website. I post on Instagram every day, and on my website I have a blog where I go further in depth to different topics. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching today's 5-minute challenge and all of the other videos. Make sure to go check them out. Have a great rest of your day, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Have a good one.